So first of all, how much did you know about Lance Armstrong before you took on the role?
Not a whole lot. I was aware that just in the cliff notes. I came into his story after the Oprah interview.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how you prepared for the role and the physically grueling kind of conditions that you had to go through?
There was a short period of time to train, to learn about the sport, and you do what you have to do to do the job.
I guess at the end of it, do you feel like your opinions of Lance Armstrong have changed, or?
Yeah, my opinions of him have, I suppose, like any job, you come away hopefully with a little more empathy for people, and I think Lance is certainly due a second look. We have to remember that he raised $500 million in cancer research, and that's real lives being saved. He wasn't just a doper. I think that's exciting.
First of all, how excited are you to have your story portrayed on film?
Yeah, incredibly excited. I mean, it's a tremendous thing, something that I never anticipated happening. We used to always say that, there will be a movie on Lance, and it'll probably be Matt Damon playing Lance or Jake Gyllenhaal or somebody like that. And it turns out there is a movie about Lance, but it's not the movie anybody anticipated. And I would have thought that if ever there was, in the early days, I thought, well, if there was a movie, I might be the bad guy. And to have a movie where I'm not the bad guy, when I was the bad guy for so long, is an incredible twist on the story, and one that obviously I'm pleased about, I suppose, if I were being honest. But I would also say that even during the dark days, I was enjoying covering the story. I was enjoying doing it. It looked tough for me, but it never felt tough.
So I suppose you're particularly pleased with the performance of your own portrayal and Ben Foster's portrayal of Lance Armstrong.
Yes, I am. I mean, I think Chris O'Dowd gets it as a journalist. He seems to me like through the film, I see him as a journalist with a bee in his bonnet, and that's how I felt all those years. And I think Ben is amazing as Lance Armstrong, and but lots of the actors. I mean, Jesse Plemons' performance as Floyd Landis. I guarantee you, lots of people will go to the movie and they will come out of it saying, Jesse Plemons was completely amazing as Floyd Landis, especially the people who know Floyd Landis really well. I think Jesse totally gets it, but as does Ben with Lance.
Do you think the American public will ever kind of forgive Lance, or will he always kind of be an icon for a fallen hero?
I think he will always be an icon as a fallen hero now. He's going to be a guy that people will use as a benchmark for great disappointments in sport. I think it's hard for the American public to forgive Lance because they feel so betrayed by him. That's the big thing for how do you get over that sense of having been betrayed? Americans invested so much in this story, and it wasn't the story they thought it was.
And lastly, when I guess Lance was finally exposed, do you feel like it was kind of like a bittersweet ending for you, or is it just another chapter that you're happily walking away from?
Well, it's a chapter I'm happily walking away from, but really, the hunt was better than the kill. Chasing him was much better than seeing him caught, because that strangely that can seem anticlimactic.
So first off, how did you just get involved in the project?
I met Stephen Frears and he asked me to be in his film. Very simply. He was thrown by it, actually, just a meeting.
What was it particularly that kind of drew you to playing the role?
I'm sorry?
What was it that drew you to playing the role?
The story was very complex, and I think bringing life to it as human beings was hey babe. and Stephen Frears, basically, always, yeah.
How much did you know about the performance-enhancing drugs and the controversy that kind of went on in Lance's life during the time before you kind of got involved in the film?
Well, it was not really, I didn't want to see that, really. We had to do some scenes that you'll see in the film. I was more concerned about the passion for cycling.
Do you feel like the public will ever kind of forgive Lance for all that, or is it always going to be kind of like a symbol of?
You shouldn't make your own opinion. People should. I don't know. I'm just an actor. It's too big for me.
Is that something you would hope that the audience would take away from the film?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just it's Steven Spielberg's work, so you should see it for that first, and then make your own opinion about what happened. But it's a beautiful work of art, first of all.
They all had a part in this. It wasn't just Lance. It was everybody had their eyes wide shut, to coin the old Stanley Kubrick film thing. When you look back at it now with hindsight, it was pretty obvious what was going on. To win the Tour de France 7 times in a row during a heavily doping era where everyone else was getting done for drugs that got close to the top, to be coming back from cancer when you'd never been pinpointed as being a stage race rider, to end up being the most famous person in the world. And I think we all had a part in that as well. We all believed something that we needed to believe, I think. And I think we should all kind of assume a certain amount of responsibility for that. And I think that's how Steven leaves the film. It's like we all have to have empathy, not sympathy, because I don't think Lance necessarily deserves sympathy, but I think we should empathize with him.